Evolution of Hamsterviel. Then, Hamsterviel reappears in the animated TV show Lilo and Stitch the series, which serves as a continuation of the previous movie in his antagonistic role, in many episodes voiced again by Jeff Bennett. In the show, he still tries to actualize his nefarious plans of collecting the experiments and taking over the galaxy with the use of Gantu, but now operating from within his cell at the galactic prison on an asteroid K-37, communicating through a computer, appearing on a giant screen, and giving Gantu orders while constantly berating and scolding him about his endless failures, which causes him to always want to end their cooperation. In one episode, Finder, however, he does manage to escape and try to achieve his goals with his own hands, but he soon gets captured and taken by Lilo's rival, Myrtle Edmonds, who thought that he could be a great pet for her since, according to her, he had all the tricks already pre-installed, comparing him to normal animals and alluding to the experiments. What's interesting is that despite his initial dislike of her, their negative personalities found something in common, and they both even became friendly with each other. However, at the end, he still at first gets arrested by the Grand Councilwoman, but then is eventually allowed to stay on Earth as Myrtle's pet with Lilo's request, albeit in handcuffs. Dr. Jacques von Hamsterviel, or just Hamsterviel, makes his debut appearance in the 2003 animated movie Stitch, the movie, as the main antagonist, voiced by Jeff Bennett. Here, he appears as a short, chubby, rodent-like alien from an unknown planet with white fur and red eyes, who always wears a red cape with a gold H brooch attached to it, and also speaks with an accent resembling both French and German. While he proclaims himself to be hamster-like, he's always mischaracterized by everyone to be more like a rat due to a mix of different traits, such as long ears and buck teeth, like a rabbit, and a long tail with bushy brown fur at the tip, like a gerbil. He also seems to have a bit of a Napoleon complex, as despite his short stature, he is a large, imposing character, and wants nothing less than total galactic domination. Since he is extremely self-absorbed, cunning, diabolical, and very abusive, he constantly insults everyone he sees and often acts like a spoiled child, throwing tantrums when he doesn't get what he wants. In the story, he first appears hiring an ex-captain of the Galactic Federation, Gantu, to retrieve the 625 experiments created by Jamba Jukiba in order to take over the galaxy with their power, for which they kidnap him to force him to give away their location. However, because Jamba refuses to cooperate, Hamsterviel first activates a random experiment to try and attack him. But after this fails, he gets contacted by Jamba's friends on Earth, with whom he soon establishes a deal, Jamba's life, in exchange for the experiments, to which they agree. Although at first, the deal goes smoothly, soon Hamsterviel discovers that the experiment pod misses one experiment, Sparky, which Lilo had freed earlier and then used to try and stop him, which led to her releasing all the experiments on Earth. With the experiments gone, Hamsterviel captures both Lilo and Stitch, and now intends to clone Stitch 1,000 times over for his army. But, at the end, he gets stopped by Sparky, and soon handcuffed by Lilo and Stitch, who deliver him to the Grand Councilwoman to be arrested. Next, Hamsterviel appears in the 2006 animated movie Leroy and Stitch, set 3 years after the incident of releasing all the experiments on the Earth, as the main antagonist, voiced by Jeff Bennett. In the story, Hamsterviel escapes from prison with the help of Gantu, and then forces Jamba in his laboratory to create a new experiment, which he names Leroy, revealing his and Jamba's past in the process, as mad scientist partners and even classmates. He then repeatedly clones Leroy and uses the clones to take over the Galactic Alliance, firing Gantu afterwards by saying that he no longer needs him, demoting the Grand Councilwoman to his receptionist and taking both her position and even her golden antler-like collar. However, despite his initial exceptional success, he gets stopped at the end by Gantu, who also joined Lilo, Stitch, and all others in battling with Leroy's and then performing the song Aloha Oe as a trigger to shut down the entire Leroy army. With the Leroys out of the way, the remaining angry experiments toss Hamsterviel around like a beach ball, after which he is sent back to prison with all the Leroys in the cells around him. In the anime TV show Stitch, taking place many years after the events of the original TV show, Hamsterviel appears as one of the main antagonists, voiced by Kirk Thornton. In the series, it is revealed that he was again freed by Gantu after his previous arrest, and now mainly plots against Stitch and his friend Yuna alongside his henchmen, Gantu and Rueben, to use the power of the Spiritual Stone, a large magical stone in the forest that can grant wishes for themselves, which requires someone doing 43 good deeds, because of which Hamsterviel tries to steal Stitch's good deed counter as proof to the stone. Unlike the previous series, Hamsterviel frequently goes out into the open himself to try and take control over Stitch, and is also shown to now cooperate with another serious alien villain named Delia, whom he and Jamba met long ago. Together, they try to capture Jamba's experiments and turn them evil, as well as capture Stitch himself, to try and create a new, even more powerful experiment. It is also revealed that Hamsterviel created an experiment of his own, named Skunkuna, that he sometimes sends out to wreak havoc on the island, with all his efforts ultimately failing. Finally, Hamsterviel cameos in the Chinese animated spin-off TV show Stitch and I in the episode Gotcha, as a flashback provoked by the Grand Councilwoman, who threatened Jumbo with a prison, in which he can be seen breaking rocks in the prison clothes.